ZILQY with Carry On. This is a band that a lot of people have been waiting for, and well, they arrived after a lot of hype, a lot of announcements, and I think you can tell how much hype there was because the video shot up in views pretty much straight away. But we're here to talk about it. It is the brand new debut track from ZILQY. It's called Carry On. You guys have just heard it for the first time. I heard it a few days ago when it first came out. I know that their rep has been contacting all the reactors. They've been hot on the heels of making sure the internet knows about it. So let's talk about it. Carry On
Reaction
by
will
Zip.
come soon.
Should we start first of all by talking about why people are so hyped about this group?
Well, I only know of one reason that
Okay.
is that Miho is in this group, which a lot of people know from Love Bites and also Chaos Control.
Oh, from Chaos Control. I'm
Where
not
it's
even
the
familiar
group that she was in. I'm not sure if she's still in after Love Bites.
with that. Okay. So I'm just looking on their website now to get a bit more information, and boy oh boy, does the website just hits you immediately with like just
Yeah, I
just
wanted
like
actually to ask you, the Japanese guru, who are the other people in this group? Do we know of them from any other projects? Because
we do.
I've heard this group described as the new Japanese super group.
Well,
So,
this is kind of interesting. Is like so the other one who I think is particularly noteworthy is Toki. I think it's pronounced Toki because I'm not super familiar with her, but I am familiar with her work. She is the former guitarist of Aldius. So we were doing that
mm.
episode talking about Aldius the other day. Well, now we know where at least one of them's gone. So we got a little bit of Love Bites, we got a little bit of Aldius. I'm not super familiar with Kano, who's the drummer. Anna, who's the vocalist, again, I'm not super familiar with her, but in some of the comments below my video, people were telling me about the fact that she is, I believe, fluent or at least very capable in English, which is one of the reasons why there is English in their lyrics. So this is a group who, if you were to ask, how are you going to engineer a band to appeal to those online metalheads? It's like we got a little bit of Aldius, we got a little bit of Love Bites, we got someone who can sing in English. Throw it to them. Throw it to them. It feels like in some kind of, like a super group that's been really designed in response to what a lot of people were after. But then again, I'd also, and this is why I'm interested about what you think about the song, because the song is different from what I perhaps think a lot of people expected. Um, but yeah, that's not a judgment because I'll give my thoughts on the song a little bit later. But how did you feel this was what you expected? I mean, now that I've told you who's involved, does this feel like what you'd expect from that?
No, I actually said that in my reaction. I turned around and said that's it's not the genre I thought they would go for. I'm glad you said Audius as well, because again, I didn't check out the other members when I went into this, like purely again, like Benedict coming in this a purely Love Bites Mio direction.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I what I was
but so
expecting, to
let
be
me ask you,
honest.
what did you expect then if you come from that direction?
I was expecting because I knew like Mio had such like massive writing credits and Love Bites beforehand, so we know how technical she is on bass and stuff like that as well. So I was fully expecting that they'd probably lean into her strengths and kind of go in a little bit more old school heavy metal or Japanese metal kind of direction a little bit more. So I was
Do we know if she does she write these songs for Silky?
Good question. Let me
I
have a
do
little
not
look.
know. I do
Uh,
not know.
I'll I'll be looking that up while you guys are just talking. So you just
All
talk
right.
about you talk
So
amongst yourselves.
So yeah, so this for me, and again, this is something else I touched on when I just did the reaction. It was for me, it felt like a song where sort of egos were put aside. Like they've got the talent to do amazing things here, and it felt like they didn't lean into massive guitar solos. Mio didn't get her like
Hmm.
technical based stuff that she would usually be associated with, and it feels like they put all that aside to make a sort of like a coherent, catchy song that flows really well. And it sounds more kind of like of a Western sort of like new metal sound rather than what I typically thought they would probably go for. But I gotta say, I really like it, and I'm hyped to see the potential of where they go and what other types of songs they kind of tackle in the future because the potential is limitless, really, because we know what they can do. Um, so yeah, I'm hyped. It's not quite where I thought it was going to go, but I'm not going to say I'm displeased. No.
Okay. Well, I have to
Okay, what do
say,
you yeah,
sorry.
what do you think, Benedict?
Yeah, I actually really like this song. I didn't really expect anything, to be honest. I mean, I had some expectations just from the Miho direction that it's gonna be some type of metal, maybe more in the more old school direction, which it wasn't. It's quite modern sounding, I would say. But yeah, I agree on a lot of points that Neon you just mentioned, that it's really a really catchy song that flows really well. It doesn't necessarily lean into any super technical directions, apart maybe from that little breakdown, which went a little bit out of the ordinary with that slowdown. But yeah, overall, really love all the aspects. But I also agree, I also mentioned this in my reaction, that Miho doesn't really have a focus in this song, I would say. They don't really,
I don't
yeah.
think any of the members do, and I feel like that's a conscious effort. It really feels like
Yeah,
none
it's
of
not a
them have a
negative.
standout moment, and it's all about the songwriting here. It's all about making the song as catchy as possible and making sure it kind of flows, which is not, again, it's kind of like sort of you know, subverting expectations a little bit because that's complete opposite of what I thought they were going to do when I was coming into this. Um, yeah, I'm very surprised at how sort again how Western sound. I'm not too surprised coming from Mio's background, but I'm very surprised at how sort of Western modern sounding
Mhm.
this song sounds. To be fair, and again, I'm very interested to see what they do in the future.
Yeah, I mean, the EP comes out on November 5th, if I'm
Mm.
correct. So we will see in a very short amount
There's
of time.
a lot coming out on November 5th.
Yeah, Bonfire Day is like the one day I have to go watch fireworks with my kids. Why?
Just hating on your kids. It's like, oh, I've got
Yeah, yeah,
things to
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Why do I have
No, I'm not
them?
hating on my kids, hating on Bonfire Day in the UK. Why? Why November 5th?
Okay,
Okay.
so Howard, what did you think about this song?
Well, first of all, I'll dive into a little bit of I'll do a little bit of checking here because there's a lot of information just came up when I dived into this. Just information started opening up quite a lot. Now, looking at the writing credits as they appear on Spotify, I tend to go to Spotify because Spotify tends to give like a concise, reduced version of the credits. It tends not to go into a huge amount of detail, but gives you basically what they want to put as the credits for the song. It says performed by ZILQY, written by Anna ZILQY, which is interesting considering the lead singer's name is Anna. I'm wondering if she's just changed her name to Anna ZILQY now. Or maybe the band's named after her. Is it literally all named after her? I don't know. That's something I've just realized. So it's written by her, the band, but also the producer who's called Toshi FJ. I looked it up. Toshi FJ seems to be someone who's connected with like American and Japanese music and very confusing trying to get like definite information on that person at the moment's notice. But basically, it seems to be a product of theirs, although they are working very closely, it would appear, with their producer. So one of those bands where they're in control of the thing, but they've picked a producer who's going to help, sort of cement their sound and get it, really identifiable and unique. That
Yeah.
seems to be the direction they're going in. I mean, it does definitely feel like a band who have been set up, as we mentioned from the get-go. They seem to have been set up with a very clear goal in mind. They had their marketing in place. They did a teaser leading up to the video. They had emails going out to reactors very early. They obviously were playing on the fact they had members of Audius and Love Bites. They've got a producer in play who seems to be both producing a very distinct sound, which you guys mentioned a moment ago, and also seems to be involved in the writing. It feels like a team that was set up, prepped, and ready to go. This didn't just sort of like grow slowly. It was designed, which is
Yeah.
again nothing wrong with that, especially when you've got experienced people who want to put together a project and
And I
get
mean,
straight, hit the ground
also,
running.
we shouldn't forget this is the very first song they ever released, so it's kind
Yeah.
of
Oh,
expected that this isn't the most experimental stuff they have,
well, no.
probably.
I mean, like I said, I'm not talking at all about the experimentation side.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
I'm just talking about what it appears that they're doing. When it comes to experimentation, I mean, yeah, that just to be clear, that isn't at all what I was talking about a moment ago. But yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't expect this song to be experiment. I would expect this more to be a song where they were trying to get one in the bag, so to speak. Get like an early start,
Yeah.
kind of like Neki did with Get Over. Do a song where you just go and like go, okay, everything about that video was designed to get the right type of fan, the type of person who would be into them. Um, that first song where if you hit the ground running, it really works. Now,
To
what
me,
was
they
interesting,
succeeded in this. So I'm excited.
Well, for me, I have to kind of judge this from two standpoints. There's the standpoint of what I think about the song and what I think it is in relation to what was expected. Because it was interesting that Neon said it wasn't the genre he expected. And I think, in a way, when I think about Aldius, this is kind of like an old school guitar driven, fast paced, like metal leaning rock band. You think of Love Bites, yeah, again, fast paced, kind of raw sort of stuff. I don't know the other two members of this band, but in a way, I thought this would be another one of those bands playing to that kind of thing of like guitar twiddle and everything. And I was actually, I'm going to be honest, I'm really happy that this song just put melody first. There was no big
Didn't
twiddling,
have a
there's nothing
guitar
like that.
solo, basically.
Yeah, well, I mean, no, it could have had a guitar solo, but it didn't feel the need to throw one in. It's like it was fine as it was.
Yeah, it wasn't
If
missing.
anything, actually, I think this song could have used a little bit more in the bridge. I don't think there was enough of a bridge, but there was okay. It was cool. This was a very concise song. This felt like a single. There wasn't a
I mean,
huge
it
amount of
is.
blow,
It
big
is
strong
the single,
chorus.
basically.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it feels more like a single that's designed for general audiences rather than just guitar
Yeah,
heads.
but I
So
still
I think
feel at one point that Neon also mentioned that you still can like see or feel the potential that is there, and that is what really makes me excited because now I want to hear the EP and hear what else will they do.
okay, but when you say that, so it's important, I think, to maybe clarify what we mean by potential, because potential, in a way, it sounds like, oh, this was just a single, but I can't wait to hear you do the real thing. I think,
Mm,
in a way,
not
I
really.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that's what you are saying, but maybe that's the way it could maybe come across to some people. I think some people might word it that way. Because for me, I still think that having this kind of song in your arsenal is just as important as having like
Yes.
the songs. I do hope they have songs on the album that have a lot of like, sort of ridiculously over the top solos and stuff like that. But I hope that because I know they've done this
Yeah,
because I know
exactly.
that they're willing to do a single where they, as Neon says, check their egos at the door, and they're willing to just do a song that's about having a big fucking catchy chorus, sweet production, and all that kind of stuff. If you're willing to do this, and you're also going to do like the shredding crazy stuff, well, then you're hitting both beats. I mean, fucking yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, sign me up. So uh, that's kind of where I feel this is. I'd also like to say I do agree with what Neon said about the fact that maybe it does veer slightly into a Western sound a little bit too much for me, given that the producer and everything. Maybe the producer leans that way a little bit with their sound. I do also think it's got that Western thing of, and I mentioned this before, as good as Miho might be, the bass is just following the guitar a lot in this, and that's a very Western thing. Some people really like that. For me, I would have loved to hear her do a little bit more bass work where she freed herself up a bit more from the guitar.
Yeah.
But I know she's got the skill to do it. I just felt like this song maybe could have done it. But again, I'm working on the basis that they're bagging a sick, concise single. And on that grounds, yeah, good way to start. Good way to start.
I mean,
Especially almost almost by definition, if you counter it on the album by doing a little bit of what people maybe the guitar nerds expected, and you do this, then that contrast will be your strength.
I think what was like initially kind of like popped out for me about 30 seconds into the song was as soon as I heard everything kind of like come together, the first thing in my head was this is aimed internationally as well.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and that kind of gets me excited. I know some people might say that as a negative because I know that we all like Japanese music because it's from Japan and because of the certain tropes and techniques that they use, which you can't really find anywhere else. But I
Mm.
think I think Audius really suffered from this, and I think this is a lesson really well learned. And I think Mio is probably in the best position where internationally Love Bites have gone on to find like really great success. And I feel like this is an intentional push straight away, straight off the bat from ZILQY to appeal to an international market. Um,
Yeah.
and
Well,
I could
that's why they
see,
went to the reactors, I think, isn't it?
yeah. So I could see this being a big thing. I could see them touring probably America before Europe, to be honest, although I would love to be proven wrong on that one. But yeah, I could tell straight away. I was like, okay, this is for everybody. This is for East and West. Um, like they're not trying to be hunkered down. But it's like to put in comparison, like say like a band like a Unlucky Morpheus, for a chance. I fucking love Unlucky Morpheus, but you know that
We
the
know.
target
Don't worry. We know you
we
do.
know,
This.
but
What?
we know that the target audience for Unlucky Morpheus is Japan. Like they're not too bothered about like international fame too much. Like they never shy away from it, but that's not their goal.
Well, moreover, as much international attention as they get, they go, "Yeah, thanks for that, but nah, we're good over here."
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
just
we're
like,
good over here. So you know what their kind of aim is, and straight off the bat, I heard the sound and I was like, okay, this
Which
is
is interesting because to me, Unlucky
ambitious.
Morpheus is one of the groups that would say actually would have more kind of an audience in the West as well, because that neoclassical style, it's actually kind of a Western influence.
I agree.
I agree
Yeah.
as well. So, but yeah, they don't seem to be
But
asked.
Japanese people seem to love it as well, and they just don't
Mhm.
play anywhere else. And they also sing in Japanese, so that's
Sorry, I
also.
need to bring my agreeing juice
Yeah, I
over.
think
Ah,
I
I
think that
see.
was the big one as well. Like the having the singer. I thought the singer was really well done. By the way, love the clean vocals. Obviously, having it sing in English as well. Again, straight away, I was like, okay, I quite wasn't expecting that. Probably should have
I
expected that.
think
To be
actually
Very
fair.
the singer gave me the most broad audience vibes because to me she had a quite of a pop voice which still can sound very powerful when she belts these high notes, but it's not like some Asami type, yeah,
I
power
mean,
metal
yeah, she
style vocal.
sounds like a good balance, yeah.
Yeah.
I will say though, here's the thing, right? So for me, this definitely musically veers more on sounding like Western rock than Japanese rock. Just being honest, this song does feel that more that way to me. But I would say if this was a Western rock song, I would say it's a very, very good Western rock song because apart from anything else, it keeps moving, it carries on. It doesn't get like too stuck in the mud. And that chorus, as much as it is a bit repetitive, it's a proper good earworm. You can imagine
Immediately.
singing that
Yeah.
along. You carry on,
Yeah,
I was
you
singing it like 2 seconds
carry
into my
on.
reaction. I was like, "This
Yeah.
is good." But that's what the
yeah,
intention of this song was. It wasn't there to be technical. It wasn't there to be egotistical. Like it wasn't there to shine a spotlight on one
it's a
person
single.
more than the other in this band. It was here to do exactly that. It was a song that it was trying to reach out to the broadest audience it possibly could
I
to
have a
attract as many
question.
fans that it could.
Sorry. Yeah, I have a question for you because you described this as a rock song. I mean, metal is basically a type of rock. I'm not sure if you were specifically going for rock here in your description, but to me, this actually felt more like a metal song with maybe a more rockish chorus. But the rest of it is, to me, it's that was kind of the thing that stood out to me immediately that this is still really heavy, like modern type heavy, and not the type of more old school where it's kind of sometimes a little bit softer, not as hard hitting, the drums and stuff. So
It's it's got a very sort of silky sheen of production to this. It's heavy, but
silky
it's very
sheen.
yeah, it's like
I
it's
know what
very
it is.
sort of smoothly produced. It's not like gritty kind of heavy. It's just like this smooth sounding guitars. But they're big, they're chunky guitars, but
Yeah,
very
but still
smooth
heavy
sounding.
and punchy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
exactly,
I
exactly.
classed it as a sort of like a new metal. I'm not 100% sure if that's probably the right categorization for
I
it,
think
but
new metal kind of brought in that style of guitar
Yeah.
production, in my opinion, because new metal brought a lot of the heavy metal over the sort of turn of the millennium, and then when you started the new millennium, like in the early 2000s, it was all this style of guitar production, super smoothed out guitars, not so much grit, just big, chunky, smooth, heavy guitars. Um, if that
simple,
makes
simple
sense.
riffs, like too simple actually. I think probably
Oh, you
the
mean more the playing? Mm.
yeah, well, and the playing as well. Yeah, so they feel like a band that wouldn't be
That's
that
what I
would.
meant with I can see the potential in there. The riffs are solid. I would agree, more simple than I don't know some Love Bite songs, but still there's some technicality in there in these riffs that makes me think, oh, they are possible of much more.
Do you know what I love about this? I love that you're looking for complexity in the riffs, and it's like I don't need any of the individual instruments to be complex. I just need them to be playing different things from each other. So I want the complexity in the arrangement, and you guys are looking at I want the complexity of the riff. I love that
I,
kind of little
I'm
difference.
surprised by how untechnical it is. That's
Yeah,
the thing that like shocks me a little bit
but
because again, I know the
it's
skill
effective, though, isn't it?
of the
I mean,
of Mio and the is it Taki? Did you say it was from
Toki.
Toki? Sorry.
Toki.
And you
It
know,
was either
like
Toki or Toki, I think
No,
it's Toki.
I have to say, I wouldn't call this untechnical. It's just not as technical as some of the usually very, very technical stuff that comes out of Japan.
Yeah, but I mean, again, this is why I think there is a certain Western aspect to that.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's worth
totally.
pointing out: is "Smells Like Teen Spirit" technical? No. Is "Song Two by Blur" technical? No. It's
Yeah.
like, you know,
But
if
is
you are
this song
simple
more
but you
technical than Smells Like Teen Spirit? Yes.
yeah, exactly. But my point is that sometimes twiddling can actually be a lot of energy being burnt, having no impact. Like sometimes it is better to go for something simpler, but you have to make every note count much more if you do.
Yeah.
Is this song perfect? No, but I do feel it brings you around to a chorus that again is very simple but
no song is
sticks in your head,
perfect.
so it's obviously working. Um, you know, I do, yeah, I would like to hear this song with like a little bit more development in the bridge. I'd like to hear this song with the bass more separated from the guitar. There's a lot of things I'd like to hear that for me would make it more interesting and develop it further and give it more re-listen value. But as a single, just as a statement of intent, it leans a bit on the modest side, but it works, you know? And if they're going to fill their album up with songs that lean slightly less on the modest side and slightly more on the showy side, then more power to them.
Mm.
We
I'm
will see.
interested to see kind of like what direction they
Yeah.
go in the future, whether or not they keep this kind of like tone, whether or not maybe they get a bit heavier, whether or not they could revert expectations and go a bit lighter, maybe. It definitely feels like a song, again, that they're trying to grab and appease as many people as they can and try and grab in the largest audience they possibly can. Um, Talking about
Which
potential of what
is
we
the
said and what
right
we're
way to do
excited
it,
for,
probably.
I'm excited, yeah, to hear what else they can do because we know what they've got in the bag, and what they can
I
do.
can I just throw one thing out here though, because I mean, obviously, as I did my reaction back when this came out, I've had a bit of a chance to read through some of the responses I got in the comments. They were kind of as predicted, but I mean, without going too far down the rabbit hole, I've said this before. The phrase saying a song is heavy is probably one of the most meaningless phrases in music because of the fact that it is so wildly subjective. Like, I mean, I could listen to a set of taiko drums and find them much heavier than any piece of metal. Because what you find heavy is very subjective. Is it like the impact of each note, in which case you need quiet bits to be truly heavy? Is it having the fullest sound, in which high compression is more heavy? Is it about the gritty tone, in which case having sort of raw old school punk guitars is more heavy? Heavy is wildly subjective.
Check
It
out
just
our
depends what
episode where we talk
impacts
about
you.
what is metal.
Well, yeah, exactly. But the reason I bring this up is because in my comments, I did get a few people saying kind of what expected, like, oh, well, I was expecting something heavy. This isn't heavy at all. And the weird thing is I agree with Benedict here, is that depending on what frame you look at this through, you could see this as being extremely heavy because of the fact the sound is so big. Or you could find it to be extremely light and poppy because the sound is so produced and doesn't really have much
Yeah,
grit and
I can
grain to it.
also see both sides. Totally depends on like your expectation and like your preconceptions.
Yeah, so I think that there's a lot of people who've already started to comment about how heavy it is. And my comment, it would more be like, yeah, if there's people going, oh, I like my music heavy and this isn't heavy, I'd be like, oh, you might want to back up and think about this is just maybe not what you find heavy and what you find heavy. Like, so for example, some people say to me like, oh, Black Sabbath is heavy. I listen to Black Sabbath and it sounds like really light to me because, you know, the sound is to my palate, but I can understand why people would find that heavy. But to my palate, it's very sort of thin sounding
Yeah.
guitars. So it got a little bit of gnarl to it, but it's all very thin sounding, and the vocals are scratchy but thin sounding. There's not a huge amount of power to it, but that's because I have my own palette of what heavy sounds like to me. So yeah, the minute people started saying, "Oh, this isn't heavy enough," just my head was like, "Yeah, that's where this is a great example of where that word
Actually surprises
completely
me.
falls down." Yeah,
Because yeah, like I said, I would have described this song as quite heavy, but
yeah, I agree.
maybe I also say that because I was expecting more some type of old school rock thrash metal style.
Which I think some people would consider to be more heavy, but again, I think that's
Yeah.
just why the word heavy is meaningless.
Yeah.
But I kind of agree. This is not the, let's put it this way. This is not the type of heavy I expected them to go for.
Yes.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, we win. We agree on something. Whoa, that's it.
Well, just said it's up to any person themselves. What do you mean by
Mm,
heavy? Neon, is
yeah.
the song heavy to you? Is it not?
It's heavy, yeah. I like I said, go back to my original comment. I said excited
So
about the
meaningless.
potential of them going heavier.
Yeah,
Mm.
sure. All right.
That's kind of the vibe I got from what you said, is that maybe like it was either something that you would consider to be heavy or not. But yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool.
No,
That's
no,
great.
it's a heavy song. Like I said, my original comment was I'm excited by the potential to hear them go like heavier and kind of
But
like
that's what I
more.
mean, is that the fact that you said heavier is rather interesting, because it kind of like it suggests that already when you hear this, you hear a potential for it to go heavier. Whereas I guess that's not maybe where my head would be with this, because I would maybe hear it going
I think they teased it enough. They did the breakdown, that very sort of like cock tease fucking breakdown halfway through the song, which you
Yeah,
knew what they were hinting at. But again, I feel like making this song like the most brutal, heavy thing in the world is not the point of this song. It's not what they're aiming for here. You
it's
can
probably also
have,
not the aim of the group.
oh, we don't know
Yes.
that yet. Like
Well, exactly. I
after
mean,
one song,
Sure.
we can't you can't nail that on. Um,
Like if
Yeah,
it
like me
were their
saying
goal,
I'm
they probably
excited for them to
wouldn't
go
have
heavier
gone
is not
for
an
a more.
insult that I don't think this is not heavy enough. I think it's heavy enough. I mean, if they did 7 songs like this, I would come away really content. Being ex Again, being excited at the potential of something or where I think they could go. And it's a bit weird because if this was a new band whom I didn't know any of the people that were in it, I would come away and say I'm really happy with this. Like probably wouldn't be having this conversation. It's a little bit the past and the history of the members a little bit kind of puts maybe a little bit of pressure on them because I see that and I'm like I know what you can do. I know how technical. I know that there's going to be thumping solos. I know Mio is so technically abundant. I mean, I have like some of the best bass solos from Love Bites that I've heard in a long, long time.
I'm really fascinated. I need to go because I don't remember ever hearing anything that I would consider to be particularly technical bass from Miho. So I really need to go back and listen to some of that
Yeah,
album.
some of her songs, man, are brilliant. Um,
Yeah.
and some of her intros.
I
And
think their music in general had like a shift of a bit of more focus since they have Fami, but still, it's great.
oh yeah, there's definitely been a change of I would say since Miho left Love Bites and Fami came in, there's been more of a I would say a Miyako direction of Love Bites where it feeds more into the classical metal a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
A
Would
probably.
little
you
bit more
say?
like less old school 80s kind of like thrash metal and more classical metal direction.
Yeah.
Would you say that you considered Miho to be more of a technical bassist than Fami? Because I've got to be honest, recalling what I do with the older stuff, I mean, I never think that Fami's really fully been able to stretch her legs in Love Bites. It always feels like, she's kind of like very much part of the band, but, not quite hear those flashes of madness that we heard in her solo stuff. But I think a Fami is very technically capable. And would you say you consider Miho to be more or at least equal? Because I never quite got
I
that
don't
vibe
know.
from her.
That's a hard question to answer. I would
Okay.
say, like you said, with Fami, she's not really been able to stretch, and I think Mio. I mean, I think she's capable. I think she can do it. I just don't think the songs that she produces and the songs that she's in that's the
It's
a
not that kind of band.
role that she
It's
Yeah.
not.
fills.
Yeah.
It's not a bass intensive band. It's a sort of band where the
Mm.
bass is like in the same way that most of the songs have like fast double kick drum. It's where the rhythm section is just about rumbling like a motherfucker. It's just like keep the earthquake moving. That's all that their rhythm section's about. So yeah, I kind of get that. It's just intriguing, intriguing. All right. Well, anyway, cool song. Be interested to know what people think in the comments. Anything else you guys want to add on this one? Any last thoughts or anything that you didn't get a chance to bring up while we were chatting?
Not
I'll take that as
really.
a no.
I would say I'm really excited for November 5th, hearing the full EP.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
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 excited. I'll be checking it out straight away as soon as it drops for sure.
uh, I'm hoping this is a single in every way that a single should be. It's that sort of nice, concise, bite-sized little memorable treat before we dive into all of the craziness beneath. But yeah, as a oh, what's the fancy name for the thing you eat before? An aperitif? An
Yeah.
amuse-bouche? Whatever the fuck it is. An appetizer. As one of
Appetizer. I
them, it's a good appetizer. Cool.
think
There we go. I
aperitif
love
is
the
after.
classy words.
If this is an appetizer, it has me excited for the main course.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I actually am really excited because it's not that often that a new group comes along that you really, yeah, hear one song by and are like, yeah, I'm totally excited about it.
Cool. I'm actually really
Yeah,
glad that
leading
you're
would be a
excited
bit
about it
long
because
for
I
me
wasn't
though.
sure if you would be, Benedict.
I really like this.
Yeah, I do
Sweet.
as well.
All right, guys. Well, get in the comments at home, everyone. Tell us what you think. And remember to keep your ears to the